My name is Brendan Roney. We're lucky enough to be here with the owners of this beautiful Delta Marine built tri-deck. It's one of a kind, and this is Rick and Rebecca Schultz. And they were kind enough to give us our time today. We just want to talk a little bit about the boat, the pride of ownership. We're here at the Palm Beach International Boat Show, debuting the vessel for the first time. And there's a mix of emotions when the boat is about to go on the market, the thought process behind it, and your energy and effort and level of passion that you have for yachting. And looking at all those things, I want to get there in the end. But I'd like to talk at the beginning kind of about how you guys met, what your passion for the sea is, and a little bit about, did that start the passion for yachting and boating with your early relationship when you guys were early on?
Sure. I'll start with how we met. We actually were classmates at the University of Texas. We did our MBAs together at the same time, both in finance. And that's how we met. We had grew up with different experiences on the water. Rick had more boat on freshwater, and I grew up more fishing on saltwater without a boat, mostly surf casting right off the beach, but had developed early on just a love for the water and did a little bit of sailing on the Chesapeake with my father.
Beautiful. I love that.
Myself, we started way back. I mean, we grew up in the Michigan area, and we fished the Great Lakes. We had a little 17-foot Thompson that was a wood boat, and it was so bad because the wood dry rotted and did other things. We couldn't even put the boat in the water to mid-July. So I told my dad, we have a boat, we can never use it because we have to work on it, varnish it, clean or fix it. And I said, maybe we'll get a fiberglass boat. So we got a fiberglass with a 115 Avenue, and I water skied off that for years. But we always grew up on the Great Lakes, and I moved to Texas, Dallas in 1980, and a few years later we went and purchased a lake house there in outside of Dallas, about an hour and a half. And boats have always been something in my life, and we went ahead and we had a Cobalt. I called Chris Craft. They sent me a little Chris Craft Capri before. They had no dealers in Texas back then. Bought a Chris Craft, and then we had let's see, jet skis and the whole thing. And about 2015, we sat, as I always do with Rebecca, say curveball, and we went to breakfast in January of 2015. And I said, "What do you want to do the rest of your life?" And she goes, "I just wanted to have breakfast."
I love that.
So she goes, I said, because we've had a place in Colorado for 10 years. We skied, we had the lake house, but the elevation was starting to bother us. So I said, "How about Florida?" She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "How about Florida?" So this was a Sunday. Next weekend, I had us booked. We came to Naples, and we looked around, and then I said, maybe we'll get a boat in Florida. So that about the afternoon of that breakfast, I bought a boat. Right? She goes,
Sight unseen?
I bought it.
Oh, wow.
I bought a 35 Formula, and they took us out on it with our maiden voyage. They showed us how to use the thing, and I said, "What's that boat over there?" And it was a Tierra. It was 44 Tierra. I like one of those. So we ordered a 44 Tierra, and so we had and then we had it delivered, and we slept on it one night, and we said, "I can't sleep on this. It's too small." So we put it up for sale. Turned out we didn't have any sheets on the bed. That's what it was so. We froze to death. I said, "This was so uncomfortable. I can never stay on a boat." So we sold that boat, but we had, Tierras and Hatterases and all of that. But, there's nothing that makes Rebecca smile as much as being on the water.
Wow,
So
that's great.
It's
When you both share that passion, which
I
unique.
tell you is a real blessing.
Yeah.
Because, the fellow we bought the boat from, Bruce Rogers, who had it named as Wonderland, his daughter's actually Maggie Rogers, the singer. Right. And they took it to Alaska and everything. But
And her first album is named Alaska.
Oh, incredible.
so that's why so the boat has a great, amazing legacy and history to it. But Bruce's wife doesn't really enjoy the water. And I said that would be really complicated. Rebecca enjoys the water so much from her fishing days in Florida that she would rather spend the whole day fishing. She'll go out in 6-foot seas, fish all day.
Right.
I won't even go out.
Right.
When she has the squid on the deep drop hooks, I mean, And the woman, I've never seen better smiles
I
on her
love
face.
that. That's right. So it's excellent.
Yeah. So, but it's always been a passion of ours, and to enjoy it at this level is very special.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are super knowledgeable owners, starting from a young age and then progressing into sport fishing, cruising boats, into this level of ownership. As you know, has its ups and some pitfalls and things that propel you through, and kind of why you went to this route to a Delta Marine, and what brought you to this, and what you now think is being an owner of a Delta Marine. Just curious about your thoughts of transitioning maybe from a Hatteras into the Delta market, and then what you feel about the boat overall.
We weren't experienced at all in the yachting world. Never had a stewardess, never had crew. Rick was the captain on every boat we had, to moving up to the 64 Hatteras. And then as we progressively got more into boating, we learned so much more about the quality of build, the seaworthiness of boats. And we got introduced to Delta Marine, had absolutely no idea what a Delta was.
Right.
The more we studied about it, the more we found out just what a tremendous American-made ship this is. And not just for us as owners, but every crew person we've had come aboard has loved working on the Delta. And we run into captains that were captains of this vessel before in other marinas, and they want to come on board because they have such fond memories of running this boat. So it's just been, and it's lived up to all of its reputation in our experience of using the boat. It's been phenomenal.
Right.
I think when you start on this journey, you start out in a production boat of some type. Right? Which at the show today, there's so many of them.
Ooh.
Right? Well, the production boats are very functional and in most cases, utilitarian. What you realize when you own a custom yacht is you go, wow, the woodwork, the finish, the seaworthiness, all the qualities that take a lot more dollars to, you have to spend a lot more to get that superior finish out and seaworthiness. And that's what happens in a custom boat. And what I really believe is that as we see a lot of these production boats, once they get to be 10 years old, you really don't know the market on those values very well. But if you come to the show today and you go to see a Fed ship, you see a Delta, it doesn't matter how old it is. It matters how well it's taken care of. It's because the durability of that boat and the seaworthiness will last 50 years.
I agree.
Right? And so that's the difference. But we had to go through these other experiences to be educated in order to understand what it really means. And the challenge for us is this boat's irreplaceable. You're not going to find a tri-deck in this price range at this quality level. And so it does. When you say you have mixed emotions, we know that there's nothing, as we look at the show, and no offense to all these other beautiful manufacturers and boats, this is not replaceable. And so that's what makes it so unique.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think that when you get into that and you go through the process, then you really are able to enjoy it and see what this vessel, especially Delta, can do for you in your journey and places you want to go. Which leads me to the question is, do you have a favorite place that you like to travel to, and some places you would go back to again, and where you enjoy your cruising?
We absolutely adore the Bahamas. So we love the people, we love the place. The water is indescribably beautiful. It's like nothing I've ever seen. It has spoiled me for Hawaii. I could care less if I go back to Hawaii again, because the waters are so absolutely beautiful in the Bahamas. And so for me, the experience of being able to share that with the guests and the family that we bring, and expose them to just all the beautiful snorkeling spots that we've discovered, the amazing fishing spots that our folks have shown us that we've just had incredible production from, has been just delightful. And so I would say the Bahamas are probably and particularly the Exumas, my favorite place to take the boat.
Yeah.
I agree. And you know what? Some people say, well, you want to go to the Bahamas again? Well, the Bahamas is broadly defined. There's all over. We're members of Chubb Key. So when we go to Chubb, we go there mainly to fish. but and you build a sense of community. We're members of Ocean Reef, so you go to Ocean Reef. So as a lot of people belong to many golf clubs or social clubs. You have the same thing in yachting. And one thing I will say is the people I've met in yachting are some of the most fun people I've ever met with, and we've made great friendships. And I don't want to sound arrogant, but if you own a Delta, you're kind of in the club. So even if the guy has the 150, he still says, "Oh, I'll talk to Rick and Rebecca," because they at least are the top, right? And no, I don't mean people aren't that rude, but it's just Delta is a differentiator. And when you go for the crew, they even say, "I work on a Delta," and so that's good. But to answer your question, the Bahamas, for me, I'm good for like a lot of 2-week trips. So I have short attention span. So I don't have, if I have to go somewhere for a month, I don't know, I get stir crazy. Regardless of how beautiful it is where I am, so I go to a lot of places in 2 weeks. You can fly with Normans or wherever to meet the boat, and you can cruise and do everything, then come back. It's so convenient. And as my captain, who's been to Alaska, Northeast, the Caribbean, even the Mediterranean, and I think you spent some time, Brendan, in the Mediterranean, those are big efforts. So if you're going to go to the Caribbean, we don't charter the boat. So if you charter it, then you can stay down there for 3 months and make it, cost effective. But for us, the Bahamas has really been the destination of choice, and we never get tired of it.
That's great. I love that. And I love that you both love those journeys there, taking friends there and family. That's what it's all about. Boating and yachting is about bringing people together. What's also great about a boat this size is you can all be together in one spot, but you can all have your own separate retreats on the boat. Durability, long-range cruising capabilities, shallower draft to get into these places in the Bahamas, to your favorite sites. Those kind of things make you go back again and again.
Especially for compass, because
Yeah,
compass, you have to be plus or minus an hour of high tide, but we can get the boat in there, because I think once you get to a 9-foot draft, your numbers is very difficult. I don't know that Joel, who had Freedom, which was at 150, he would come in there, but he'd be stirring up a little sand and other things.
absolutely.
So we can get everywhere we want, but a friend of mine who's been in boating a lot, been in boating a long time, he told me, he says, boating's a narcotic.
Ooh,
Right? It's so addictive because once you do it, it's an irreplaceable experience. You can have wealth and money and own different things, but being on the water and looking out at the sunsets, and even in Highborn Key, and you see the sunset over the rocks and it's beautiful, then most boaters love good wine, as do we. So we love good wine. But you sit there and I don't know what could give me that level of satisfaction and just appreciation. It just brings me to such a basics of life that it's so memorable.
Well, I'll pick up on something you said about what's fun about this boat is you have so many different places to be. So whether it's if you have a little bit of work that needs to get done, and so you need a place to sit down and work, we've got space in the salon to do that. And particularly when it comes to meals and different things, like my daughter and her friends, one of their favorite places to be is this on the aft deck here on the bridge deck, and have dinner or lunch there. It's a wonderful place. Or if it's a gorgeous morning, we're all going to be on the lower aft deck at that big table there and sit out.
close to the water.
Right. Or if we want a more formal dining experience, we're at that formal dining table in the dining area. So to me, it's just there's so many beautiful places to be. And one of our favorite things to do, Rick mentioned wine, is have a glass of wine or a nice little cocktail and hors d'oeuvres all the way up on the fly bridge and just enjoy the view is magnificent. You can see forever from up there. And then just the breeze and the comfort. And it's a beautiful way to end a day and begin an evening.
Yeah.
It's one of our favorite spots.
And what makes it unique, think of it, boat like this size, and for being in boating, and I can tell you I have friends that own 150s, 170s. And, we have a friend with the 150 here in the show right now, and he's got 9 crew, It's, they're international. I mean, the expense structure and the challenge of that many crew is takes up time, takes up mental energy. Where the 120 to 130 is the premier size range, where you can do it with the number of crew that you want, but you can still maneuver around the Bahamas and a lot of places. You can do a lot, and I consider this to be the perfect size of a vessel with the most utility and managing the expenses of it. But when you think about dinner, like Rebecca brought up, you could seat 24 at dinner here very easily. You could seat 8 up here, 8, in the salon, and then 8 on the aft deck. And think about that. I think I'd have a hard time eating in my house in Dallas having 24 people over for dinner, and it's very accommodating here. And they can go right to the bar, especially if they're up here. It's very convenient because the bar is right here.
Right.
Right? So they don't even have to go a long way for a cocktail, right? The other folks down below, they have to go longer. So I'd rather eat up here. But it's just, you get 24 people. So, I mean, that's quite amazing. So there's so much utility. The other thing is, what I didn't appreciate is the difference between a raised pilot house and a tri-deck. And having a tri-deck with a sky lounge and the upper lounge as well really creates a lot of different spaces for enjoyment and for memories.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that was going to lead into my next question was what kind of advice you give somebody for a buyer that, you mentioned yesterday at the show, a buyer comes in the show, someone looking at boats. There's so many things to look at. You get confused. You don't know, what is what at the end of the day. So as looking not only from the show, but the lens of, hey, I'm going to be buying a boat like this, getting into a bigger boat size, and what advice you have as they step into a boat, saying coming from a 50 or 60 or 100 into this size range. If you had any advice for new buyers or new owners out there that you could share to say, here's a couple things or a couple tips or quick things to share in your mind.
I have a lot of advice on that. We're all down there. Because I learned a lot. And I got to tell you, after being in yachting for 12 years, you learn a lot. But Rebecca and I, we just love boat shows. We love boats. We love the water. So we walked around yesterday. If I was trying to buy a vessel or looking to buy a vessel, I'd be so confused because there's so many different brands and there's so many different types of boats. So if I gave you the 3 things, the first thing is, which is the best quality? A lot of people like to buy new and they like the sizzle of new. That's very good. And a lot of those newer boats, the question I have is what happens after 10 years? Because no one really knows a lot of these new designs, how seaworthy they'll be and how well they'll hold up after 10 years and what their value is. So to me, if you're buying a newer boat, you're going to suffer a lot more depreciation. I'm a finance guy. So cost of ownership is meaningful. And I can tell you, we met people at all different wealth levels and they all know the math of yachting. Maybe not the first 2 years because they learn quickly. By the 3rd year, they say, oh, I know what cost of ownership. And so the first thing is I would buy the most high quality brand out there. In a Fed ship in Delta, you can't go wrong. I'd buy an older Fed ship before I'd buy a newer production boat, right? Because I know that Fed ship has an integrity and a quality to it. The next is cost of ownership. It's one thing, so cost of ownership comes in a variety of ways, but it's cost of money, which is going up now. It's probably 5-6%. And then you have depreciation. You buy an older boat, you suffer less depreciation, but you have more maintenance. Well, a boat that's well maintained, you're going to suffer a lot less depreciation, and the maintenance costs will be lower. So the economics of it really are important. And so I can tell you for this beautiful yacht, the engines have been rebuilt. They only have 2,200 hours. Generators are good shape. We just redid the exhaust system. We upgraded the AC units from 5 to 6 tons. So the chill water system, this place will, even in the hottest days, will freeze you out, And so even this room here, we updated, we refinished all the wood to its original design. And, but we've gotten to know all the right tradesmen here to do it all. So I'm okay owning an older boat because I know the process. A lot of older boats have to go in the yard, and it's a $2 million expense. This has none of those expenses. So to me, I would look for a builder that's of high quality. Hockford, Fedship, Delta, and there are a few others, right? And then I would say, what's it going to cost me to own it? And talk to the owners like us. We can tell you that. And then the third thing I would say is, what fits the utility of your family? And know the difference between tridecks, pilot houses, or some of these more sportier yachts. Because what you don't want to do is own a vessel, make a mistake, because those mistakes, because you guys stay in business at 10%. So I understand, how you make a living, but that 10% adds up.
Sure.
So you want to make fewer mistakes.
Great advice.
And I would follow up with Rick's last point about really understand how you're going to use the boat. So is it going to be a truly social thing for you? How many people are you actually going to bring into your space to live with? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, all your excursions. You're going to be with these people a lot. So you need to decide, how many people you would bring on at once so that you still can enjoy them and their time with you, and they still have the space to enjoy themselves. One of the things that I really appreciate when we first looked at this yacht before we bought it was the size of the master stateroom is just beyond generous. It's fabulous. But the other staterooms are quite generous as well. And there's room in the bathrooms for, I have a daughter, so she's got a lot of girlfriends. And when they come, they need counter space in the bathroom. And there's plenty of it for them. And it's just, so you have to think about how you use the space and how you will use the boat to interact with your own friends and family and just even yourselves. And Rick and I, we're happy to take the boat just ourselves and spend some time on it.
And that one thing, at first I thought, wow, we have this big vessel and it's just the two of us or another couple. I'll tell you, we've had the best memories and everything. A lot of folks when they get a boat, I got to have 10 people, right?
Exactly.
Well, you know what? Having 10 people, it's work, 4 or 5,
Yeah.
it's work because you, as owners, are you having a good time? Are you enjoying yourself? Is the food good? Do you need anything? I mean, even though you have the support staff to do that, I don't know how you can have a guest in your home, which is your home, and not feel that way. So that took a little bit of learning for me to just realize that if we're kind enough to invite you on a beautiful vessel like this, and I have to worry about what you're going to do every day, that's probably a problem, right? So to enjoy it in the way that you can with everything that we have, and we tow a 41 Bahala, so you can go snorkeling, fishing, and we carry a little 17-foot Walker Bay, which Rebecca and I love. So we create so many activities. It's probably when I'm on probability, I have fun 12 hours a day. I don't know when I have a fun 12-hour day, right?
Places.
In other places, I got to tell you, there aren't many days I have a fun 12-hour day.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that. I so appreciate your guys' time. That's great advice. They're always available if you have any questions. This is a wonderful boat. It's excellently maintained. We're going to go through a walkthrough to do all the video and photos throughout the boat so you could see it in detail a bit more. But thank you so much, guys, for your time.
If I can add one thing, Brendan. So Bruce Rogers, who is crowded, he's okay if I use his name, came on board yesterday after not seeing the boat for 5 years. It almost brought tears to his eyes. Because when you own a boat like this, it's part of you. And you're part of the legacy. So people do have questions. We want to share the legacy. This is not just a boat. It's a special owning this Delta 122 Delta, of which I think they made 6 or 7 and 6 still exist. And the history and memories. I mean, Bruce couldn't have been, he was smiling the whole time. And so we are the same way. So we're always available because we want to make sure whoever is the next proud owner of this yacht, that they understand what it's like. And we want to preserve the integrity of the boat, but also extend them to have their happiness as well.
I love that.
So thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
And you know what? It's been a real pleasure to work with you.
Thank
Been
you.
outstanding at what you do, and I'm so proud of you and your firm and what you've done. It's been and to watch you in action and representing our Delta. We've been overwhelmingly appreciate we appreciate you, but it also you've done an amazing job.
Thank you
Very
Yeah.
impressed.
very much. Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right.